Hi, I'm artist John Baker, and you're watching South Jersey Business with Joe Molineaux.
Welcome to South Jersey Business with Joe Molineaux. Thank you for joining us as we share information, tips, and techniques that can make our business community and your business more successful. Thank you to Stockton University for the opportunity to produce this show focusing on business in South Jersey. In just a moment, we will talk with artist John Baker. I've had the pleasure of knowing John Baker for a number of years. I have witnessed firsthand his growth as an artist as well as the reaction of so many people to his art. His unique style and the artistic items that he creates have become a part of so many people's lives. So let's get right down to business with today's featured guest, John Baker. John, thank you for joining us on the show.
Joe, nice to be here.
Can you take us back where that moment where you kind of decided, hey, art is my thing, I want to be an artist, and I'm sure there's some development in there, but can you take us back to the beginning when that light bulb went off and that creativity just kind of poured out of you?
Yeah, I was probably 5 years old.
Wow.
I think it's just, I don't remember as far back as exactly what it was that I was drawing or what I was interested in, but I knew I wanted to create things, and my parents, they saw that in me, and they had me enroll in a adult art class. They didn't have a children's art class, and I was 5 years old at the Ventnor Community Center taking an oil painting class, and by the end of the first class, I think I was surrounded by all the adults who couldn't believe that I was painting this still life of an orange. And my parents still have the painting to this day, and they've been a tremendous support of my goal to become an aspiration to become an artist.
That's great, and I think everybody that knows your art knows you have a distinct style, and so many forms of art and so many different ways to paint, right? But how did you land on that unique style? The palette that you used, the colors. Was there a way you got to that point? How did you get there?
With all things, I think it's like, why is your voice your voice? Why do you sound the way that you sound? How do you see the world and how it affects you? And I honestly believe that there's a lot of things that shape my voice, and it really comes down to I just practice, and practice some more. And as I explore different techniques, different palettes, different colors, they all become an expression of either how I feel or how I see the world. My wife jokes that I see probably 1,000 more colors on the spectrum than she does, because we'll argue over what color is this, and it's crazy. But that's just part of who I am.
I think you're describing like shades of life. I mean, you're seeing life a different way. It's amazing. But I guess that speaks to your motivation, right? My next question was going to be about what motivates you, but I think you sort of answered that, unless there's something that I'm missing, because I know you dive into certain types of art, and it seems like you really dive in because your catalog is so rich. Is there something that triggers you, that kind of motivates you to say, wow, I haven't done this, or I want to try this, and it pushes you in that direction or pulls you in that direction?
From as early as I can remember, I paint from what I experience in life. And again, that's just part of how I process life, is sitting down in front of an easel with a blank canvas and already knowing and seeing the painting, and it's just putting it down, and it's fully formed a lot of times. But more to the point, like pop culture, events that happen, like 9/11, we touched on how that just deeply affected a lot of people. And for me, my artwork has been catharsis. It's been therapeutic. It's a way for me to fully just dive into the micromanagement of the paint that's in front of me and not think about everything else in the world. It's almost like when I get done a painting, sometimes after a marathon session of 6, 7, 8, up to 10 hours, I'll go to bed, I'll wake up in the morning, I'll look at the painting, I'll be like, oh my, I wish I could do that. Because it's just so absent of thought, it just happens. But especially I'd like to talk about 9/11. I mean, that was huge. And I'm a surfer, and I was painting surfing paintings a lot before 9/11. And then after that day, I mean, everybody who had a chance to see what was happening unfold live on TV was deeply affected. So I started painting waves that were the American flag with surfers in it, because the American flag was everywhere. It was a time and a place where our nation was so unified. And the painting process of that feeling of, we have to stick together, it still didn't ease the nightmares and the thoughts that were, intrusive about the jumpers, the people who that decided to leap from the top floors.
Yeah, that outcome was going to be better for them than what they would face if the building was to collapse.
And some of them were completely aware of what they were doing.
Yeah.
And others were eyes closed, falling
Yeah.
blind. And so one of my most impactful pieces were my people waves that were a genesis of that processing of my emotional state of, what we witnessed. And, so when you start thinking about how we're all wrapped up in something that's bigger than ourselves, from the community, family,
Yeah.
faith, and to know that we're all mortal, and there's one true outcome, and that we're all going to meet our Maker. And the way that transpired that day, I found the metaphor of the wave truly inspiring. And so when I did the people wave, I had people who were holding on to others next to them in the wave, just reaching out to those, helping others, some people fighting the wave, and ultimately everybody going up and over and either spotting their landing or not knowing how and when they're going to land.
Yeah, so much individuality within that giant wave of humanity that you painted.
Yes.
John, that was very powerful. We have to take a break, but I want to come back on the other side of this because that painting received national recognition in a very beautiful way. So can we talk about that when we get to the other side?
Sure.
Okay, I want you to sit tight because we have more show to come.
All right.
Let's check out how you can connect with South Jersey business through social media, and then we'll be right back with more business talk featuring artist John Baker. We're back with today's featured guest, artist John Baker. John, before the break, we were talking about the 9/11 piece, the human wave, and I mentioned that it had been included in a collection. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was included in the 9/11 online registry. So all of the artists who were impacted by the events of 9/11 submitted their artwork, and it just became a bookmark in a time and a place and a permanent collection.
It's a wonderful piece, and I'm glad we were able to share it today on the show.
Thank you.
Success. You've reached a measurable level of success. How do you define success? What does success mean to you?
It's a catch-all. Like
Yeah.
Success for me is just that I know that I'm blessed, that I have a network of people who support me, that I just be better today than you were yesterday, and just keep doing that. And that pretty much is success if you're happy doing that.
Yeah, that's a recipe for success. If you could be happy and you're good at it and someone pays you for the work,
yeah,
it's pretty good. Speaking of that support network, you brought it up. I know you have immediate family, you have extended family, you have in-laws and outlaws and everybody else that supports you. But if you want to mention some of those folks that support you so much, please do. But also tell me what that means to you to have that kind of network to let you do what you want to do to the best of your ability, but also have them be part of it.
I just know I'm blessed, and I am so lucky that I had upbringing and parents who recognized that they were always going to be there, be present, and guide and help. And I think that as far as my family, my wife has been like, you should see the paint that's on the ceilings. Pretty much every piece of clothing that I have has paint on it. Whether it's new clothes or old clothes, I get paint on everything, and I'm lucky that I'm able to continue doing that. And while sometimes that the studio gets overrun with just canvases and art supplies, and that I still have the support of my wife to pursue this passion, pursue my dreams, and I'm just lucky. And I married into a great family. The Hurleys are fantastic. I couldn't have imagined a better family to marry into.
Yeah. Well, you found the right girl, and the
Yeah.
bonus was her parents are pretty cool too.
Her entire family.
Yeah, that's great.
Right.
Speaking of family, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it, in your house, as far as talent and ability?
My son is quite the artist. He's better than I am. He was better at an early age. At 1 year old, we had a newsprint on the blank big canvas for him to draw on, and I gave him some crayons. 1 year old, and he picked up the first crayon and he drew a little spiral. And then he put it down. He grabbed another color and he drew a spiral. And after about 10 minutes, he had filled the piece of paper with equidistant spirals of different colors.
Wow.
And just the spatial recognition that he has will take him far. Like he has an eye, and you know, it's.
So you talked about your interest at an early age. Then we get into the nature nurture thing, right? Like he's watched you even at a young age, right? Do what dad does, right? So he's probably had an interest there.
Newborn, home from the hospital, put him in the chair at 5 a.m, sit there, set up my easel, and paint until the relief came in to kind of let me go back to bed around 10 o'clock. But I would talk to him.
I'm just thinking about that. What a great way to grow up. Like, think about that. You're surrounded by and we're showing pictures of your work so people see your color palette that you play in. Yeah. It's brilliant colors. It's those bright blues. It's the deep reds.
Right.
The really beautiful colors.
Thank
and
you.
I have to believe that the nature nurture thing, I can see it both ways, because it's probably inside of him. Yeah. But then it was also part of his outside.
Amazing.
Every
It's
time
just
you
that
open his
apple
eyes.
did. I mean, he's more than just me and my wife, and the sum is just greater than the parts. The kid's amazing. Yeah.
Now, clearly, you're an amazing artist. The work speaks for itself. People's willingness to purchase it, collect it, put it on their holiday trees through the ornaments you create. I mean, just amazing stuff, right? I have to ask this, though, because I don't want people to sit here and think this is like the easiest thing in the world, because I know how difficult it can be. Do you ever get blocked and feel like, okay, I'm hitting something, I got to get through that? And if you do face that, how do you get through that?
I walk away. I literally walk away, and sometimes I won't paint for a day, 2 days, a week. I've taken weeks off, and then whether or not I realize it, I start getting grumpy. And my wife will be like, okay, just
and that's where you
go,
really need that support.
Go paint. Yeah. And then I'll lock myself away, and I'll do these marathon sessions again, like all night long, where I'm just hyper focused and just need to get it out. And I'm lucky that I have that support, but that, sometimes it's like the best thing that you can do is to step away and reevaluate and think about where you are. And then, a lot of times, if I'm really struggling, I'll go online. I'll look at what my friends are doing. I've developed through different art shows out in California. They have like things that they're doing that are just like, wow, that's really cool. And I might tweak my style, not to co-opt a different style, but how can I see something that's so inspiring and then make it my own?
That's awesome. Yeah. What a great way to answer a question that could have turned into a negative, but it's still very much a positive, because you talked to us about how you get through those moments. Sit tight, because there's more show coming up.
Okay.
Up next, we're putting John to the test with the M4 Big Money Question right here on South Jersey Business. But first, a quick look at how you can check out past episodes of the show. As you are aware, management, marketing, money, and media are the essential parts of any business. And when you're an artist whose work has impacted many people in our region and beyond, you need to know how to mix up all 4 M's. So it's time for the M4 Big Money Question with today's featured guest, artist John Baker. John, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so let's talk about it. Management. Let's talk about your management style, or how you manage your time. Let's talk about management.
Kristen, my wife, she's my manager as well as my support system. Everything goes through her, and she from the decisions about how to price a certain piece, or what time I need to spend to balance my life. I mean, management's all about balance, and you can't go too top heavy with too much too much time that it takes away from the other parts of your life. So,
Yeah.
you know, management's a pretty easy one, and because of my my lifestyle, my job, I do have time in the morning and before I start bartending, and I have to manage that time as well. Like make sure that I'm ready and I'm prepared to go into work at Stephen Cookies.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I love that. You have a partner in there that helps you manage. That's true in business a lot of times too, right? There are people that play to their strengths. That's great. So let's talk about the second M, which is marketing, and let's stick to maybe the more traditional forms of marketing that work for you.
Business cards.
Yeah.
Business cards at the bar. I mean, marketing for most of my artistic career has been pretty easy because I work at a restaurant where my boss, Cookie Till, has allowed me to display and show my art.
Yeah.
And so every night that I'm working, I'm also marketing not only the restaurant, the featured specials of the night, because, you know, after all, service is sales.
Yes.
Service industry, the product that at Stephen Cookies is top notch. But 20 years ago when I first started working there, Cookie really wants to know her employees. So what do you do, John?
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm an artist and I just left my advertising job, but I've always waited tables through high school, through college, through my secondary education after college. And she goes, show me something. So the following night that I worked, I brought in a piece of art and she said, you know, that's good. You want to hang that on the wall and sell it. And I haven't looked back. It has been a blessing to, you know, part of the support system, not only my family, but also I don't imagine my life going any better when I have that kind of support.
Yeah, just a side comment on that. When you have such a high expectation of a restaurant and then the art is just as wonderful on the walls, and there's a lot of artists she features, but you happen to be one of the top artists there that she features, and it's always a pleasant experience there because it shows that connection back to the community and the art community as well as the food community. So I think it's wonderful. We got to get to the third M, money. It's something we all don't like to talk about, but how does that work within your business?
I'm blessed because I have built a following, and like I said before, practice. And the more you practice and the better the product becomes, you find a way to, the money will come. It's like, if I worried about the money, I would be wasting my time. I just do what I love and the money comes. That's true with pretty much everything that I do, from bartending to, you know, my artwork.
And that's one of the most valuable lessons you can share today as well, that if you do the work and you work hard and you put the time in, the money will follow. If you worry about the money, you're probably in the wrong business. You know, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. Now, finally, this is a big one for you because I know you hit it from both sides, media. Can you talk a little bit about the importance to your work to social media as well as media?
Absolutely. I think that we're blessed to be alive in this time, this era of the internet. It's absolutely amazing. And being a huge Philadelphia sports fan, and I follow all these teams, it really inspires me to do a lot of work that I then share on social media. Can I show you a piece?
Absolutely.
This is a piece I brought into the studio today.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so the original hangs at Stephen Cookies, and I've had celebrities come in. I've had Jason Kelsey come in and sign Swoop. Cole Hamels came in and signed The Fanatic. I'm still waiting on a Flyer and a Sixer to come in and sign the originals. But again, once I put these up onto social media and then can tag all of the teams, you know, next thing you know, I have just people expanding my network for me, sharing this, whether it's a gift that they buy for somebody or they put it into their downstairs media room while they're watching sports, you know, and God bless the Eagles, let's go Birds. But while they're doing all of these things, you know, they can accentuate their life and their lifestyle through art. And what a better way to capitalize that it didn't exist before the era of the internet.
Absolutely. So, that piece is fantastic, and I'm going to come visit the original, I promise you. And see those signatures. Well, thank you so much, John, for sharing your answers today for a Big Money Question with us on the show today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you, Joe.
There you have it. Artist John Baker's well-balanced mix of management, marketing, money, and media. We have some more business content coming up, including another segment with today's featured guest. So stick around for more South Jersey Business with Joe Molineaux. John, we meet so many business owners on the show and community members and people like you, artists that give so much of their time and their talents to their community. And your story is definitely one of those, of a person that gives. You're very generous with your art. I know that because I see you out at the events. I see you donating pieces that help nonprofits, many nonprofits in our region and beyond, raise money. I guess I'll ask, how did that start? More importantly, there's so many people that you worked with, so I'm sure there's great stories that you have, but how did you get into that? What was that first show or the first thing that might have set you on that path that you saw your donation of your time and talent could help people raise a lot of money?
Definitely my parents. They were involved with Gilda's Club for so many years, decades. And seeing the work that my dad did as an orthopedic surgeon and the people that he would help, people would come over to the house, and it really instilled in me the importance of, if you're able to help, you really should. And I look for opportunities to help people wherever I can. I've been blessed with a boss, Cookie Till, who leads by example and without a doubt is one of the biggest philanthropists in our area.
Yeah, very generous.
And she leads by example. And it's a hard thing to ask sometimes for people to donate and to give. But I consider myself extremely lucky that if I'm able to, whether it's the SPCA or Gilda's Club or Reed's Farm, diabetes training camp. I mean, if people come to me and ask, I'm inclined to absolutely say yes.
Could I ask a question? Sometimes I'm guessing that you're asked to be involved in an organization, and do you find your creative juices flowing and say, wow, I have a perfect piece for that, or a piece comes out that you create in response to that ask? Does that ever happen?
I like that question, but I mean, going back almost 22 years as a surfing artist, I had a chance to meet Dean Randazzo. He was out, and his brother Joe was working. He said, "Hey, do you want to meet my brother?" And I said, "Absolutely." And I'm never one to be starstruck, but talk about a humble, down-to-earth guy.
Yeah, and a talented guy.
Not only talented, but a world-class surfer. He made the pro tour. He was going up against Kelly Slater. It would be like if you golfing were made the pro tour and you're golfing with Tiger Woods.
Against him.
He was at the peak of his game when he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And but he was in remission at the time. He said, "John, nice to meet you. Why don't you come down and see what our fundraiser is all about?" And at the time, it wasn't a not-for-profit. Okay. It was just a surf event that he hosted with his friends and his family to raise money to help people who were in need, who didn't have insurance.
Who went through what he went through, right?
Right.
And realized he could help because he had that platform.
He had insurance, and he was meeting people at oncology offices who were otherwise looking healthy and young, but were stricken with a cancer diagnosis and weren't sure how they were going to pay their rent. Oh, wow. So he told me, just come down, check us out. And so that following week I went down. They happened to be holding their third annual Surf for a Cause in Longport, and I brought a piece of artwork. And because of my affiliation with the surfing community and my love of surfing since I was very young, I donated it on the spot. I said, I don't know if you can use this piece in a raffle or raising money, but this is something I want to give to you guys. And they raised, I think, $250.
Wow.
On the spot. Somebody bought it, and that money went to go help somebody.
That's great.
And the following week after that, I got a phone call. I said, "How'd you find me?" "We have ways. Would you like to come to a meeting and see what this organization is all about?"
Yeah. And it was before it was officially
501c3.
Now it is officially a 501c3, and it's the Dean Randazzo Cancer Foundation.
Right. And I've been on the board now for 22 years, and I've been happy to forge lifelong friendships with some of the people on this board. I consider it a family.
Yeah. And
trustees come and trustees go, but we always stay in touch, and we have a common goal to make our community better by helping people who need help.
Yeah.
And without Dean and his, he wasn't destined to be a pro surfer for life. He was destined to be a role model and show people what it's like to face adversity and truly fight, and just do what you can to get better.
Yeah.
And to be better.
Yeah.
And it's truly inspiring. So that is an organization I'm happy to be a part of.
And right now, I'm just going to put it out there because that's the type of show we have. that organization can always use funds, right? Because cancer doesn't stop. And their community is affected, and sometimes the people that you think don't need it more than ever, right?
Some people are just way too humble to even ask for help. And when they're in that position, our goal, we're all volunteers. It's an all-volunteer board. And we host 2 big events, one in the spring, the Paddle for a Cause, and in the week after Labor Day, we do the Surf for a Cause.
Okay.
And so when we host these events, we have a community that is, I mean, I feel like we keep dipping into the same well, but these people are more than happy to donate and help. And what we do is we write grants to applicants who, on a need basis, exhibit that need, and we can cover their mortgage for several months. We can help them with co-pays, travel expenses, those unexpected costs, even if they have insurance, the things that are really necessary for them to focus on healing rather than how am I going to pay my mortgage this month.
John, I think the community is stronger, but I know that organization is stronger because of your leadership, the board's leadership. As you say, the trustees might come and go, but those volunteers are lifetime volunteers, clearly. So I want to thank you on behalf of everybody that's probably ever received helps from that, but also you got a lot of work ahead of you. So good luck. I wish you continued good luck on that endeavor.
Thank you.
Once again, the guests here at South Jersey Business exemplify precisely what it means to be committed to our local community. Thanks again to John Baker for everything he is doing to help our community. The team here at South Jersey Business appreciates all of you who watch the show. From time to time, we receive questions from our viewers, and we always do our best to respond to your inquiries. So it's time for Q&A. Here's this week's question. Dear South Jersey Business, what tips would you give for someone trying to name their new business? That's a good question. We can break it down into a few parts. First, be thoughtful. Really think about the name and how it relates to what you do or what you sell or the services you provide. But really think about it, because it will be the name you will probably be using throughout the life cycle of your business. Next, be creative. Names that are eye-catching really do make a difference. And sometimes people will look at a name and say, wow, that's a creative name. Maybe it's a creative business. Maybe that's the type of business you're in. Something with creativity or art or products and services that you want people to come in and take advantage of, because they will feel more creative. Third, be forward-thinking. When naming a business, it is important to think about your future and where you'd like to be in business and how quickly you'd like to get there. I'm not suggesting you think too far into the future, but you wouldn't want to outgrow your business name without thinking about it first. Finally, be memorable. That's one of the most important things. How many times have you thought, oh, I should eat at that restaurant, but you can't remember the name? Or I should go shopping here, or go to that website, but you just can't remember the name. If it's not memorable, people will not remember it. I hope that helps answer your question. We'll be right back. Well, that's the show. We had a solid business discussion with artist John Baker. Once again, thank you to Stockton University and everyone that makes this program possible. Let's do it again next time. And until then, let's get growing, South Jersey. Thanks for watching.